Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Cosmic Coffee. I'm Jeff Hall, the director of Lowell Observatory, and I'm joined this morning by Samantha Gorney, our deputy director for education, Lisa Actor, our deputy director for development, and David Sawyer, our project manager. And we're here this morning to talk a little bit about the Kemper and Ethel Marley Foundation Astronomy Discovery Center, which I'm sure most, if not all of you, have heard about. It's our big capital expansion project to elevate our outreach programs from their already excellent level to truly world-class level. And this is a very timely episode. Next week is the annual meeting of the Lowell Observatory Advisory Board. We are so happy to feel that it's safe and appropriate to do that in person this year, with a few modifications for attention to a little bit of distancing and safety, but we are going to welcome them back to campus. The board includes many of our longest and most loyal friends and supporters. And in addition, as you know, for any large capital project like this, there are a lot of boxes you have to check off before you can pull the trigger. And we have this week just checked off one of the very last boxes, and we are really ready to go. So at next Saturday at the advisory board meeting, we will have the groundbreaking for the Astronomy Discovery Center, and we will be on track to start moving forward. And right now it looks like a late 2023, maybe early 2024 opening, given the timescale we've gotten from our contractor about building it and then fitting it out and getting the staff ready to deliver some outstanding programs. So we're going to give you a little update today on where all of that stands. And as always, we welcome questions to come in the chat, and let's take it away. So we will start with Samantha, who's been masterminding a lot of the experience that you will have in the Astronomy Discovery Center. And I'm going to pass it over now to Samantha to walk you through some of what we've got in mind and how things have changed since we last talked about it. Samantha?
Okay, thank you, Jeff. So we'll start with the view of the building from the outside. And you can see featured prominently on the front there, the Kemper and Ethel Marley Foundation Astronomy Discovery Center. We'll kind of walk through the building and hit the highlights, the major amenities. Starting with the Origins Gallery. So the intent for this space is to really orient visitors to not only the building, but also the campus. So some important wayfinding opportunities here, as well as interpretive opportunities. So, excuse me, coffee. So this is where visitors will familiarize themselves with the big story that they will explore in the different places in the ADC. And the big story being how we came from basically elementary particles all the way to life on Earth. And the sculpture that you're seeing here in this view is intended to depict that journey. Lisa, I don't know if you can show one that, yeah, there we go. So you can see up at the top there, elementary particle tracks, which again is intended to represent, the first formation of matter in the universe shortly after the Big Bang. And then that kind of transcends into this sculpture that's meant to depict the formation of atoms and molecules that came together to form stars that formed galaxies. And then kind of at the bottom there, that golden sphere is intended to represent the sun. And then beneath on the floor, you can sort of see those landforms that the person at the bottom of the image is standing between. And the intent for those is to project beautiful images from the Earth on these landforms, and the colors on the landforms will correspond with colors in those molecules up above. So we'll have the ability to change color with those molecules. There should be a pretty dynamic, mesmerizing and impressive sculpture. Okay. So from the Origins Gallery, visitors will have access to many of the main attractions, including the Children's Gallery, which you're seeing a view of here. And this is a really exciting addition to our outreach program. You know, we've never had a gallery devoted to children. And you know, we often have families, and they feel like in some cases there's a lack of opportunities for young children. So this will really fill that gap and give children and their parents a really fun, unique experience. One of the things to mention here is that we've paid careful attention to a design concept developed by the Exploratorium. So they spent some time investigating how girls engage with exhibits at science centers. And from those investigations, they developed a set of best practices that we are observing in this gallery. The study they put out is called the EDGE study. It's exhibit design for girls' engagement, and has a lot of really useful concepts. So some of the colors and how visitors engage with the exhibits is how that manifests in this gallery. As you can see from these renderings, these exhibits will be very hands-on, and there will be opportunities for experimentation. So, you know, design something, test it out, iterate on it until you are able to do it better, and learn from so-called failures. And it should be as fun for parents as it is for kids. And really here we're highlighting the important concepts in physics and astronomy. And we have this interesting set of characters, Marzi and Pluie. So these characters are from Mars and Pluto, respectively. And their job is to share with kids how these science concepts apply in astronomy. So in some sense, they're the astronomical ambassadors. I think we can go on to there we go. So these are some renderings of the main Astronomy Gallery. I should have said the Children's Gallery is designed for basically 0 to 8-year-olds. And the Astronomy Gallery is intended to pick up where the Children's Gallery leaves off. So, you know, 9 to 99-year-olds. And this will be filled with a number of interactive exhibits. You know, in many galleries today, we see lots of screens. And we've made sure to not inundate people with screens. So a number of these exhibits are really hands-on and will appeal to, you know, this broad range, age range that we're striving to appeal to. Lisa, if you could go back to that first one. Or, sorry, 9. So as visitors enter the gallery, we intend to introduce them to, well, remind them of these big questions that are sort of common throughout humanity. For instance, where are we in the universe? How did we get here? And, you know, not that we'll answer this one, but what is the meaning of life? And then as visitors progress through the gallery, the idea is that they learn how these big questions are addressed through astronomy. So you can see there in the background an interesting light sculpture. because this is where we begin the discussion about how light conveys information. Light is the messenger that helps us answer these big questions. So there's a close-up of that light sculpture I was mentioning. There will be opportunities to explore the planets in this gallery and also exoplanets. So we're sort of focusing in on our neighborhood, but where our neighborhood includes other stars with other planets. Okay. So this is a rendering of the Universe Theater. This amenity is also located, or the entrance to this amenity is located off the Origins Gallery. And this will be a really interesting, unique, immersive space. You can see there's a large wraparound cylindrical screen accompanied by sort of what's been called a moonroof screen. And in this theater, we'll have the ability to introduce our visitors to the things that are otherwise difficult to share with them. So we can take them to the surfaces of other planets, for instance, or to explore time and or distance scales that, you know, are unapproachable otherwise. And you can see there's a large stage there at the front of the theater. And we will have live presenters for our shows here in the Universe Theater, enabling us to showcase, you know, one of our greatest assets, which is our educators, who come just infused with passion for astronomy and background knowledge and an eagerness to engage and share their enthusiasm with the public. Okay, I think, Lisa, we can go on. There we go. And finally, the last of the major amenities of the ADC consists of the Richard F. Karras Dark Sky Planetarium. And this will be just an incredible way to connect visitors with the beauty of the night sky. I think, you know, many of us remember looking up, well, having grown up in Flagstaff, maybe this is a little bit unique to me, but I can remember looking up at the night sky and just being awestruck by the beauty and the vastness. And that will absolutely be the experience here in the Dark Sky Planetarium. We've intentionally elevated it above the level of the rooftop so that the horizon lines really fall away. And as you're sitting in this theater, you're gonna sort of feel like you're just suspended in the universe. So it's an opportunity to reconnect with, you know, the universe and the fact that we are part of the universe. We're not just observing the universe out there and not participating. We are part of the universe. So I think, yeah, we'll end with just this overview of the ADC here. You can see the entire building in this view, the entrance toward the bottom right. There's a rooftop terrace adjacent to the Dark Sky Planetarium. And then finally the rooftop, the Dark Sky Planetarium on the rooftop, which is elevated above the level of the terrace.
Great. Yeah, thanks, Samantha. Question has just come in. This is so exciting. Thank you. We agree. It is tremendously exciting, and we're thrilled to be getting going. Samantha, question: what projection system will the planetarium have? I was just going to mention that. So,
well, Lisa, I don't want to be presumptuous here, so maybe you should take this one.
Oh, okay.
Oh, is this about the? Well, are they talking about the theater?
I think the theater, yeah.
And the LED, we're looking at a technology that involves micro LED lighting, so that the colors and the action on the screen is very true and feels like you're really there. It's a new technology. It's way better than projection technology, which projects light onto a screen. And we're weighing this carefully because it's a significant expense, but we think it's going to be worth it. I mean, we think the experience it will provide to our visitors will be so staggeringly real that they will leave feeling like they had a very different experience than they've ever had anywhere else.
Yeah, and if I could just add to that, one of the problems with, or the challenges with projection is that you're dealing with light. And so when you try to get blacks on the screen, that's fairly difficult to do. You can't shine black light at the screen. However, with LEDs, you can achieve just incredible black. And obviously having black is important in astronomy. So the contrast is really key. And we're exploring how we might apply this technology in both the Dark Sky Planetarium and the Universe Theater. It is contingent upon funding and where the budgets come in, but very exciting technology and very appropriate for astronomy.
Yeah, achieving very black blacks is sort of useful when you're showing images of the universe, and we're trying to spare no expense in making sure this is really first class. To your point about budget, Samantha, I'll note that the projectors that we would have to use are really expensive, and the bulbs have to be replaced, and so there's probably more upfront expense with the LED screen, but then we don't have so much ongoing maintenance of these enormous projectors. There's a question: how large will the theater and screen be?
I can take that one. The theater itself will seat 180 people, and the screen will be 24 feet tall and wrap around 160 degrees on the audience. I don't know the length that works out to be, but it's over 100 feet across.
Yeah, we were a few weeks ago, I think all of us here on the call were previewing one of these down in our current visitor center. It's just a 4x8 foot screen, and it was astounding, the vibrancy of the colors. It was almost three-dimensional. And doing a quick bit of math to this question of how large will the screen be, I figured it's going to have something like 500 million LEDs. So it's pretty amazing, and just one of these components that Samantha was talking about that I think will make this a facility truly unique in the world. And our intent is that it will be the finest in the world, right here at Lowell Observatory in Flagstaff, Arizona. But of course, all of this costs well over $100 to put together. In fact, it's closer to 37.5 million and the final analysis. And at the start, that seemed like a bit of an Everest of a fundraising bar, but fortunately we have a crack fundraising team, and I think Lisa's going to talk about some of that.
Yes. Well, we started with the Giovanni Open Deck Observatory fundraising, and that was a $4.5 million undertaking. And I was really astounded with how rapidly we were able to raise those dollars. And we're seeing the same kind of fundraising success for the Astronomy Discovery Center. I want to thank the Kemper and Ethel Marley Foundation for stepping up with the naming gift. Their biggest gift ever. So they're very excited about this project, as we are. And then the Richard F. Karras Trust and the Orr Family Foundation have stepped up, as have others. In fact, we have had 158 donors to date for the Astronomy Discovery Center. And those donations range from $2,500 for a quote plaque to over 8 figures. But we have many more opportunities for folks. In fact, I wanted to mention if I can share my screen one more time, one of the areas where a lot of people can participate is in this diverse universe wall that recently got sponsored overall by W.L. Gorn Associates, which we're delighted to have them involved. But each individual plaque, which tells the story of an astronomer or planetary scientist who overcame difficulties through racism, sexism, disabilities, and other issues to become astronomers, become scientists, tell these wonderful stories that really showcase how anybody can become a scientist and feature, really specialize in astronomy. So these plaques are available for $3,500, which can be given over a period of years. They're all showcased on our website under lowell.edu/Astronomy Discovery Center, or ADC. Anyway, if you go to donate on our website, you can look it up. But we have 70 of these plaques, and about half of them have been claimed at this point. So those, for lots of folks listening, that might be an opportunity that you could be involved in this project. And I just want to say what a rewarding project this is to be a part of. I really am excited about what this will mean for our visitors and how we will excite people about science and astronomy specifically from visiting this facility when it opens.
Yeah, agreed. And from the get-go, we've said our green light for going and breaking ground and starting was 80% of the funds raised. And it turns out with the current total budget, that's exactly 30 million. And we're
there.
Blown past that. We're there. So we're ready to rock and roll here. One question came in on the chat from Jim Davies. Hi, Jim's always on the call with us here. Will there be a place for the history of Lowell Observatory? I think you could speak to that.
And the answer is absolutely. We will reference history wherever appropriate in the Astronomy Gallery and elsewhere. And we also plan to point people in the direction of some of the historic resources. If, this will enable them to explore those things further if they're interested in them. So some kind of wayfinding indicator associated with an exhibit that mentions Percival Lowell's studies of Mars would point them then to the Rotunda Museum and to the Clark Telescope Dome as places where they could learn more about that. And also, we're thinking carefully about the historic resources on campus and how to kind of give them the attention they deserve, to maybe refresh them and have them tell a more cohesive story and really kind of beef that in.
Yep. Okay. Thanks. Yep. Good question from Jim. And now we'll go over to Dave and just, from paper and plans, you have to make this 50-foot high building rise out of the basalt here on Mars Hill. So maybe just a little bit about our construction plans and how we're approaching all of this and timeline. Dave's in charge of all of this.
Okay, yes. And in fact, first we have to dig down into the basalt before we can rise out of it. But so we're anticipating that we'll have all of the necessary approvals to actually start site work in early July. And assuming that's true, we expect to have the rough grading and the pad ready by fall, September, end of September for that. And then we'll start working on the underground utilities and the footings and the main slab. And we plan to have that complete by the end of the year. And then, of course, the schedule depends on weather. If we have a lot of snow, it might slow things down. If it's a dry winter, then we'll be able to keep moving on. But during the winter, we'll start working on the steel erection and the masonry walls that are underground, the retaining walls. And then come spring, we'll start then coming out of the ground with steel erection and masonry, and have that complete around summertime. And then as well as the utilities and site work. And then we'll start working on the inside in the fall. And it actually is nice timing on the schedule, because then it means we'll have a closed-in shell to be doing the interior work and the finishes during the winter. And then weather isn't such an issue. Then in the spring, we'll do site improvements and do finish gradings and so forth, and then be ready to start integrating the theater, the technology, the screens, the exhibits you saw in those presentations. And that will take pretty much the summer to do that. And then, so we're expecting to be substantially complete in the fall of 2023. And then we'll start, training and doing the finishing touches for integrating exhibits, and, just bringing them out and testing them, and learning, how educators are going to be presenting things. And so maybe we'll be ready for a soft opening in early 2024. And then maybe when the weather gets nice, we can plan on some grand opening in early 2024. So that's currently where we are with the schedule. And again, there are unknowns such as weather. Another issue, it's because of the interruptions in supplies because of COVID and other restrictions. It's sometimes hard to get materials. Also, it's sometimes hard to get subcontractors because they're just so busy right now. And so we have, in the schedule, we do have some contingency for those things, but still it's, it's hard to anticipate what's going to happen over the next year as far as the construction resources and availability.
Yeah, always uncertainties and all of that. But it looks like the super tanker is about to lumber into gear here, and we will just continue forward as best we can. And we're incredibly excited to see the shovels hitting the dirt, even if in a ceremonial fashion, in just 9 days. So what we'll do is ask for any further questions in the chat. Any further comments from you, Samantha, or Lisa, or Dave?
Sorry, go ahead, Lisa.
No, you go first, Samantha.
I was just going to say, this really is so exciting. We saw after the New Horizons flyby, visitation picked up to where we couldn't comfortably accommodate all the people that wanted to come here and learn about science. I mean, they were literally having to turn around in the parking lot and drive back down the hill. And the ADC will enable us to embrace all of these visitors that want to come learn about science, and will provide them with resources that will just be awe-inspiring and mind-blowing. And I can't wait to sit in these different venues that, the Universe Theater and the Dark Sky Planetarium. I'm just incredibly excited. And I'm also incredibly grateful to this whole team that has enabled this to happen. And of course, all of our generous donors as well.
And the tagline we have created for this beautiful new facility is "Infinite Wonders Await." So you'll start to see that tagline as we prepare to break ground and ultimately to open up.
Yep. And put up construction banners and start to see all of the shovels and rakes and implements of destruction, as we put it. And yeah, I can't really decide which I'm more excited about, just to imagine actually sitting there in the theater or just standing up in the dark sky planetarium, because that's going to be right up at treetop level with this panorama of the horizon and the peaks and the Flagstaff's dark skies. It'll just be spectacular. There is a question has come in from Kent Colbath. Hi, Kent. Will there be any space for temporary exhibits?
So not initially anyway. After the ADC opens, there will be an opportunity to add galleries in sort of a modular way. And it's possible that at that point, we might rethink the exhibit structure and move toward a model in which we're able to bring in temporary exhibits. But that's not currently in the plans.
Right. Now, I do want to mention a couple of things as we get ready to wrap up here. First of all, the groundbreaking ceremony is next Saturday, June 26th at 1:30 p.m. That's Mountain Standard Time here in Arizona. So that's 4:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight and also 1:30 Pacific Daylight if you're calling in from elsewhere. We'll be streaming that out. I believe the technical crew behind the scenes has posted the link to that in the YouTube chat, just come look at our YouTube channel. And we'd be happy to have you join us virtually for the happy occasion. And I also want to mention, as we get to wrap up here, we're going into the summer. We've been looking at schedules and the world starting to return back to normal and travel and maybe even a vacation or two coming up. And so because of our board meeting, we will not be having a Cosmic Coffee next week, but we're also going to take a little bit of a summer July hiatus on Cosmic Coffee because just schedules are completely crazy. But we will certainly keep everybody posted on everything that's going on here, as well as the construction. You can certainly expect periodic Cosmic Coffees on the progress as the structure begins to emerge and take shape. And we look forward to having all of you on this 2.5 year journey with us and to the amazing opening of this truly unique facility in 2.5 years or so. So thanks for joining us this morning, and we will sign off now. And everybody, as always, be well, be safe. Until we meet again on Cosmic Coffee, have a great summer.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.